What happens when Democrats are in charge? Sometimes they grow up.
Illegal aliens should not be treated the same as people who entered the U.S. legally.
I voted numerous times when I was a senator to spend money to build a barrier to try to prevent illegal immigrants from coming in.
We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked.
Wow, who are these bigots and why are they so mean to illegal immigrants? Actually, they were just being adults because they were in charge once. Now no longer in power, they depend on the Republicans to play grown-up, and they could be the kids, as thousands of migrants come our way. Fact is, the Democrats need Republicans to be the bad guys, i.e. the adults. So the Democrats can hold dumb stances they don't even like. We've been watching the Dems offer emotionally lopsided views of the caravan. Then they smear you and me for bringing up any consequences. But imagine if there were no border constraints to stop the caravan. Imagine if we just hummed John Lennon songs as we waved everyone through. Of course, you'd only launch a dozen new caravans, each filled with knowns and unknowns. It's obvious. Oh, wait, that's already happening. That's a consequence. So why aren't the Democrats worried? Because they know the Republicans and the U.S. Border Patrol will end up being the bad guys. We always are, and bail them out. It's perfect for Democrats because really it's all about looking good by feeling really bad about telling the migrants they can't stay. It's all theater, and in this theater, the evil characters are anyone who thinks critically, and the hero, the progressive who pushes emotion without consequence. And he wins because he can fake empathy, still have a border, and an orange villain to blame it on. It's great being a kid. You can demand the dumbest things and secretly hope your parents aren't listening. What do you think of my theory, Dana, that the Democrats actually need the Republicans to be the bad guys because they know that they're going to pull the Band-Aid off. They're going to ground the students. You know what I mean?
I was thinking of a blind taste test, but a blind read test. So take comments from Republicans and Democrats when they were in charge with Obama for 2 terms, and then Republicans for the George Bush terms, and then President Obama's. Blind test.
Yes.
And read them. And I think that you would be hard-pressed to find any disagreement. That's what's so frustrating about this issue.
So my theory, Emily, is when you're out of power, you can say things that you really don't mean. And then when you get in power, suddenly you grow up and go, well, got to have a border.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to build on something that you said in your opening, I think that the left has framed this, the coverage and the conversation, as either it's emotional and moral or you're totally devoid of compassion. Yeah. And you can't have both. And the irony to me is the fact that all or nothing approach does a disservice in that compassion arena to all of the people, the migrants included, in all of those Central American and some Southern American countries that are affected in that multitude of areas, economically and politically and criminally and diplomatically. There's so many other issues that I would think it would be the greater humanitarian and compassionate position to be honest and complex about that coverage and conversation.
Yeah, you know, Jesse, I think there's a lot of dishonesty here in pushing an event that has no positive outcome for the people involved. Like, sooner or later, they're going to hit something that isn't going to let them in, and everybody else can just walk away and do another story. This story may be over in a couple of days, but you know what? We've incited a couple of caravans, and they're going to fail at some point.
They are. And I'm the most compassionate guy at this table.
I believe that. You are at least in the top 5.
Yet, I'm always portrayed as mean-spirited just because I want to maintain the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the United States, the country that I love. I treat this country like a house. I want to know who's coming in. And I want to invite them when they come in. And I think every American agrees with me. And I want hungry foreigners to come to America and make money and achieve success. But I also don't like foreigners controlling U.S. immigration policy. I'd like Americans to control U.S. immigration policy. So when you see a bunch of impoverished, strangers from Central America kind of hostilely rushing north, and they're chanting things about our president, and they're wearing T-shirts that kind of are a little offensive, and they're paying coyotes cash, and then they meet up with a bunch of lawyers from the ACLU south of the border, and they're coached on what to say in order to get asylum. A lot of Americans look at that, and they're a little uneasy with that. All we're saying is don't cut in line. Come here in an orderly process. We want a fair and orderly immigration system, but we also want compassion for Americans. Yuma in, I think, Arizona, this town is being overwhelmed by immigrants who are just dumped there by the Border Patrol because they can't hold them. And the townspeople and the citizens of Yuma, Hispanics, blacks, and whites, American citizens, are feeling like, what is happening to our town? We didn't vote for this. Where's the compassion for them?
Juan, there's a second caravan already starting. Obviously, it's not like they're getting encouragement by seeing this one before them, and then they just start another. That's why this is so. That's the consequence of this.
I think it's a consequence of the failure of this president to enact any kind of immigration policy. And obviously, the horrible things he was doing to children at the border has not acted as a disincentive. In fact, now we see incidents like this.
Same things Obama was doing.
I wanted to say to you, Greg, that to me, as I was listening, I was thinking to myself, wow, so I guess the Democrats clearly are not people who are opposed to borders or opposed to keeping illegals out. What we saw at the top of this segment was Democrats saying we need borders, we need legitimate protection, but maybe we don't need a wall that's not going to be effective. But the second thing to say here is that, again, you demonize people, and today, you know, right-wing media sites were showing a picture of what looked like a beaten Mexican cop and suggesting, oh, this was happening in terms of the caravan. The picture was from 2012. But again, it's on Facebook.
What does that have to do with me? What does that have to do? I didn't demonize anybody, Juan.
Because what happens is, rather than saying we have a humanitarian crisis now, and that we need to help these people and we need to figure out a way to deal with this problem so that it doesn't persist, so that we don't get new lines forming, instead the emphasis is on, oh, the Democrats are the bad ones. Geez Louise, I wish that Republicans would say, you know what, I understand somebody's pushing a fear button, and it's the kind of thing that then leads people to conclude, oh, we should go after the Democrats.
Juan, I think it's unfair to say that the Republicans don't want to fix the problem. Republicans have tried to fix the problem, try to change the loopholes in the law through Congress and build a wall. And when you say that the wall won't work, I disagree with you. Democrats don't want the wall because they know it will work.
It won't work. But let
why
me just
won't
say,
the wall work?
Let me just
answer the question.
Because
why won't the wall work?
I'll tell you very quickly if you want. I mean, the answer is that most people who come into this country illegally come and overstay visas, and they come on airplanes or boats.
So stop. Okay, the wall is not going to prevent people from coming over on an airplane. I agree with you. I'm saying migration on foot from the south.
No, it's not.
How does the wall make no sense?
We already have fences and gates.